Welcome everyone, hope you're doing great. In this video, I will introduce to you the RxJava, which is the Java implementation of reactive programming. But first, what is reactive programming? It is a modern approach of how we deal with data. In two words, it means asynchronous and non-blocking programming, means a parallel and event-based process of our treatment. I will leave some links so you can read more about this. Let's start by understanding the scheduling in Java. One of the biggest strengths of RxJava is the ability to easily schedule work and process results on various threads, which means that we are going to divide our treatment between resources. Threading in RxJava is done with the help of schedulers. There are multiple types of schedulers. Let's list some of them. First, the I/O scheduler. It is used to interact with file systems like dealing with files, performing network calls like dealing with APIs, for example, REST API, database interactions. Regarding database, it is important to know that your database must support reactive programming, means it has to be non-blocking. But what is blocking database? It means that your database responds to you until it finishes its query. Imagine that we have a huge set of data. It will be a really nightmare to wait database finishes its query. Example of non-blocking databases. In general, non-SQL databases are non-blocking. Example, MongoDB. Scheduler is the computation. It is used to process large datasets, for example, image processing or streaming. Next, new thread. It is used to create a new thread, but we have to pay attention when using it because it's expensive. Main thread. It is the default thread. If we don't precise a specific thread, our application will use main thread as a default thread. Let's prove it. Here we created an observable that contains 3 items. In fact, observables in RxJava are the source which emits items to the observers. We want here to map each string to its length and print the result with the thread that processes the treatment. As you can see in the output, the result was processed in the main thread, as we said. As you can see, we use a just operator, which creates an observable that contains at most 10 elements, no more. From operator creates an observable from another list. Now let's discover the subscribe on operator. But first, let's take a look to this diagram. This diagram represents the life cycle of stream from the source to the consumer. If we apply an operator to the stream, it will be divided into 2 parts. The part before applying the operator is called upstream. The one after applying it is called downstream. Now we can understand the 2 keywords subscribe on and observe on. Actually, subscribe on affects both upstream and downstream. All the stream will be processed on the same thread. But observe on affects only downstream. Work will be processed in the thread and the result after operator will be emitted in another thread. Look to this example and understand more. Let's modify the old code and use subscribe on a new thread to process the work on a new thread, not the main thread. As you can see in the output, both upstream and downstream are processed on the new thread. Upstream, which is printing the name of the thread, and the downstream, printing the length, are both processed on the new thread, which proves that subscribe on affects both up and downstream. Now let's take a look to how the observe on will behave. We added an observe on scheduler IO scheduler after the map. Look at the output. The observe on didn't affect the upstream, which is processed with the new thread defined by the subscribe on. Now we know the difference between subscribe on and observe on, but let's take a look to a very last scenario, which is multiple subscribe on. If we have multiple subscribe on in the stream, the work will be processed on the first thread in the stream and the other ones will be ignored. Now, I will end the video at this level to keep it short. I will upload other videos to explain more about RxJava. Keep in touch. Thanks for watching.